Hi, I'm Pam, founder and CEO of Fit and Fun Playscapes, and I am so pleased that Jessica has asked me to speak about how we approach sensory pathways. First, thank you to her and to Shape Nebraska. We appreciate being here. Let me show you our slide. When we're talking about sensory pathways, it really comes down to sensory experiences and continuity. Sensory continuity is the ability to provide sensory connections between spaces in your school that encourage, calm, and regulate sensory experiences, depending on your kiddo. For example, imagine sensory movement opportunities in the classroom, in the gymnasium, down the hallway, and onto the playground and pavement, even along the sidewalks. If you have a consistent set of graphics, movements, and patterns across these spaces, then you have what we like to call sensory continuity. And that's really important when there's kiddos that have significant or even a little bit of transitional issues. Just briefly about sensory systems, right? There's a total of 8 sensory systems in our pathways. We feel that we touch upon the tactile, visual, proprioceptive, and vestibular sensory systems. We don't want anybody licking or smelling our stickers. It's not really what it's meant to be. And here's a little insight about how we approach the ingredients. What makes up, how do we approach specifically sensory pathway design? So first of all, we always want you to think about who will use the path. What are your students' needs? What are the grades that are served? Are there physical or developmental challenges that you need to address? Will the pathway be self-guided or instructor-led? Will there be groups out there, individual? Are you trying to achieve higher level or lower level of energy? Or how do you feel about if the kids are distracted or engaged? Or maybe all of the above. You have to consider those before you approach your sensory pathways. That's super important. Then we look at the layout. It depends on where the layout of the pathway is going to be, the size of the hallway, the spacing between the movements, the gait of the movements. And we specifically like you to think about floor and wall materials. In terms of exactly where the sensory pathway would fit, there's really no one size fits all. It really depends on how long, wide, and your pathway will be located. You definitely want to think about where exactly in the school you would like it to be. You want to kind of be respectful to the library areas, but not have them in public areas where there's a lot of noise as well. We also think about the sequence. The sequencing and patterns are super important. You want to start with a movement of high success. You want to build up the energy levels progressively, use them in more complicated, blend in more complicated movements and skills so that there's a midway culmination. And then you want to wind down that energy level. And it's always great to end with a mindful movement for self-regulation. And you definitely want to remember and remind your students to breathe. One of the other things you need to think about is how the pathway will be managed. We get this question a lot. Oh, it'll be too loud, too distractful. It really doesn't go that way. We really don't hear about that because it's very targeted movement. It's not recess. It's a sensory pathway. And so, but still you want the expectations for the pathway to reflect what you have at the school. It follows typical school strategies for behavior and consequences. And you definitely want to think about transitions between the classes and how you want to address those, as well as how you transition back to the classroom. The overall results that we get, the feedback that we get for the schools that we work with is that when they come back to the classroom, they are more focused, they are more engaged, they're more regulated, they're more centered, and they are definitely ready to learn. So I hope this is helpful to you, and best of luck to you all. If you have any questions, feel free to call us. We're always happy to help. It's 1-800-681-0684. You can chat with us online, or you can send an email at info@fitandfunplayscapes.com. Thank you.